So when you had the moment, now discuss this with yourself. What was the solution? The first thing is, when we look at this as an extract, what does an extract mean? So an extract, how it is done in the laboratory in the West, means you either extract it with an enormous amount of steam, hot steam, that's a possibility, or you put it in alcohol, that's a possibility, or you do an extraction with oil, that's a possibility. You can also break it down physically or chemical into substances. But each time, again, you're changing the substance. And what you remain with is just one part where we have no knowledge. People say, oh, this is Vidanium, and it's beautiful because it is known since 5,000 years in India. No, it is not known. Ashwagandha, the holy plant, is known since 5,000 years. But not what you have put in a capsule. That's not known. And that's very dangerous in my eyes, particularly when we have records over hundreds and hundreds of years about the dosage that is suitable for a person. So now we have a dosage that is like 10,000 times more effective. But do we need that? Do we need, again, a hyper dose or becoming hyper? What is the aim of us to develop? Is it to be hyper? Is it to optimize? I think these years are over where we always wanted to optimize ourselves. So we don't want that. In particular, when we look at the preparation, which is now coming in a capsule. So when it comes in a capsule, what do you do with a capsule? You just swallow it, right? So when you swallow a capsule, you swallow it normally with water. Mostly people lazy, so they swallow it with cold water. So this cold water goes through your throat and enters your stomach. What did we learn about the Agni? How good is it to drink any liquid under blood temperature when it comes to the Agni? So we have this multiplied dosage that is now sitting with cold water in the stomach. The capsule itself is made of some gelatin or some plant-based medium, and it doesn't open in the stomach. It will move straight into your small intestine. And only there, with the juices of the small intestine, it will break down and finally open and release the substance. Is the small intestine the place for releasing the substance? We are not sure, but again, we look at the normal way of consuming the plant. The normal way of consuming the plant is you take either the fresh plant or you take the preparations. And the various preparations, now we look at the preparation which is known as a churna or a powder. So the churna is taken, and then you take a little bit of the churna and you put this in a mug and you stir it with another substance, as we talked about the gods. So you take with ashwagandha a little bit of milk, and the ashwagandha with the milk gives you a feeling of strength, and particularly of mental strength and clarity. It reduces the onset of heaviness and depression, because the fat in the preparation is able to break through the blood-brain barrier, and so it starts working on your brain. What did we hear about the capsule? That's not doing that. It's in the stomach with water, so it's not doing it. When we take the churna with the milk, it is quite compact. So actually we take it in our mouth and leave it there for a moment. Maybe the milk was too hot. Maybe the ashwagandha powder is a little bit on your tongue. So what happens in your mouth is that you produce a lot of alkaline juices. You produce theanine and other enzymes in the very moment when the plant hits your palate. So here is the digestion starting. And from your memory via your nose, the digestion is prepared. So you get all these beautiful juices in your mouth, all the saliva. So it puts it into some kind of an emulsifying state. You know, whenever you have water and fat, then you have an emulsion. And so the ashwagandha is now in a different way. It's a different paste. It just moves down your throat. It enters your stomach, and the stomach is there prepared with a lot of acid. So this acid now will again change the combination of the enzymes coming from here and turn the whole thing into a different substance. And we have more than just the H3OH substance in the stomach. We have a lot of other substances that then also contribute. And then the stomach starts churning it around and around and around. And because the milk is there, milk is heavy to digest, right? Because the milk is there, it might sit in your stomach for 3 to 4 hours and get really churned. Once that is done, then your ashwagandha mix now is moving towards your 12 fingers intestine and is then mixing with the bile of your liver. It is mixing with pancreas substances to break down more of the enzymes. Isn't this fantastic? So what do you think is more important? What you put inside or how to absorb it? And the more you have mixed it and churned it, the more you possibly will absorb. So the next option to take ashwagandha is you put it in hot water and you stir it. And when you put it in hot water, it is becoming something we call a vajrakarana. It is a horse maker. It is a substance that is very good for the male performance. It is a substance that's very good for your daily performance when you have to move a lot physically around. It is very good for maintaining a focus on the physical work. You know, sometimes we also lose focus on that part of our brain, which we consider in Ayurveda as physical. And so ashwagandha then, it is a tonic. Yeah. So it has a little bit of, I wouldn't say coffee because coffee is a tricky substance, as we heard. So, but it is more like an energy boost in that sense. So we have a big difference between the application with milk and the application with water. If we swallow a capsule with one substance, we're losing so much of the active ingredients of the, we say, the hundreds of wonders of ashwagandha. So the next part of the ashwagandha would be then you can mix it with honey. Wouldn't be the first choice because honey is reducing the kapha and ashwagandha also needs a lot of strength. But we could use it for just somebody who really just needs to keep going, who's very depressed. And then you would just give that honey because it's full of enzymes. So it again helps breaking down the plant, so it becomes easier to be absorbed, because the kapha problem is not that it's just building fat, it is actually that the absorption is so poor, right? So we have now 3 options for preparation, and then we have even more options because ashwagandha is like a key herb. It's an adaptogen, so it does so many different things. And when we have the key herb as an adaptogen in the middle, and then you can add, for instance, brahmi as a churna, then you get a completely different effect of the ashwagandha, because it enhances the function of Brahmi, of your mind being stable. Or you can enhance it with guduchi, and you take it with water, and it enhances your ability to fight viral and bacterial infections. Yes, so it goes on the production of the lymphocytes. If we would interpret this, but we don't do that, because we don't need to actually prove that something that has been proven over the times needs to be now on our desk and desiccated.